Three.
Three.
Here.
Now time for some interactive fun.
And as you could tell by my opening special effect, hopefully that didn't spook you out or anything, that I'm back for the third time on an idea. It's been a while since I've done 3 episodes for a single idea, but I'm back for my you, yours, and yours. What did I call it? Last time I changed it to you and yours. First it was you and you, then you and yours. Since it's the third one, this is you, yours, and yours. Say that 3 times fast. I won't. I'm horrible at those. But I'm back. Like I said, with this idea, the last episode, I brought back an older idea from the Mothman Insecta series I was doing with my hero Cole, who was a shaman and who kind of became a superhero in their own story. And this is the continuation. I had another idea of a kind of multiverse, multi-jumping story. That's what the you and yours. And I brought back an old hero that I created, Cole, into this story. So like I said, in that previous story, the old Insecta story, the Mothman was the kind of guidance and spiritual, not leader, but spiritual guide for my reluctant hero, Cole. But when Cole took on the responsibility, I keep misgendering my own character, Cole. They took on the responsibility that the Mothman was there for, the kind of the guidance. So my character now, Cole, is guiding this character in this current you and yours story, which was based on a person that basically time jumped, to make it as simple as possible to catch you back up. So with this third episode, this might be the last episode I do on this for a while, because there's we're in April now. Today's April 1st. Hey, April Fools. Hope you didn't get fooled too much. But I want to jump to another story. So like I said, it's April, it's spring. I have another story based on a certain sport that just started its season. That's a teaser for my next idea. And I'm excited about that one. I wrote a lot about that one late last year. And I said I was going to wait till this certain sports season started to do that idea. So that'll be the next one. So like I said, this third episode about the you, yours, and yours will probably be the last one for a while. For this one, I'll probably bring it back later. Because like I said, it's going to be a kind of episodic continuation story, kind of like a comic book where it's like a short, or a pulp magazine where it's like a short story, but it keeps going over time. But for this episode, I wanted to mainly do rules and like lore for the characters, the antagonist, protagonist, the world, kind of the background, because I've done like the story setup and all that and how I see the story going already. If you want to listen to the last 2 previous episodes, and I'm sorry how confusing and how scatterbrained I am and rambling I am with those, but I'm going to try to be concise and shorter with this one because I just want to get these rules out. I actually wrote it down this time, as you can hear by my notebook, old school. I wrote it down. Okay. So this is the first rule I had for my multiverse, multidimensional superhero shaman story. So when you feel a chill run through your spine, that in this universe, in this world, that means another version of you has jumped into your dimension, your realm, your version of Earth that you're on. I'm trying to not just copy like the multiverse of Marvel words and rules. They have like Earth version, 717 or 626. I'm trying not to do that because I don't want to get sued by Marvel. Shh. But like, okay, so that's the first rule. When you feel that shiver through your spine, that random shiver, that's another version of you. That's like the not trigger, but it's kind of the audio cue. Because like if this was a movie or a show or something, there'll be a shiver sound effect that I will play right here. That could tell. And then you have that thing with the shot where you're like the camera's behind the person and you hear that audio cue and their head turns. They have that shiver, and that's how you tell to the audience that something jumped into this dimension. Okay, because that's the thing. Like this used to creep me out when I was a kid. My mom used to say to me that when you get that, that's someone walking on your grave. Yeah, yeah. My mom used to tell me that as a little kid. Yeah, and this is why I am the way I am. But for some reason, I wrote down a shiver runs through it. That's the thing that was playing in my mind for one of the rules. Okay, 2. Another audio cue to tell that another version of you has jumped into your dimension is the Doppler effect. That's like, if you're standing in one spot and then a big truck or a car or a train or something goes past you, you hear it on one side and you hear it leaving your existence or where you are in an audio format on the other side. You can hear it passing, you hear it transforming. If you hear like kind of the sound of your own voice doing that, that's another audio cue that, from the Doppler effect, that something has jumped into your dimension, your universe, your version of Earth. That's rule number 2. A quick aside on that, back in my early 20s when I was going through insomnia, they say when you go through insomnia and you're sleep deprived, that you go temporarily insane. That is 100% true, because it kind of happened to me, and I was having creepy Doppler effects of people running past me and screaming because I could not sleep. I had really bad insomnia, and that's terrifying. Okay. Rule number 3. A still good version of yourself. Let me just get it out. A still good version of yourself has to destroy the other evil turned version that is jumping dimensions. This is the thing I brought up in the previous episodes when I called you won yourself. So another background thing, I'll jump to the next one. The evil character in this is called Bel-Sar-B, who was a Mesopotamian minor god of the poplar tree. So this is going to be my the evil deity or entity in this story that Cole, because Cole is a shaman, can see. And the reason I randomly chose it, but then I try to work it in. So they're a minor Mesopotamian god of the poplar tree. And if you Google pictures of the poplar tree, you're going to see a bunch of different ones, because it's like a genus of trees. There's going to be different versions of different families of it. But one of the pictures you'll see is like a row of similar trees. Like there's just a row of trees that look almost identically alike. They're not identically alike, but they kind of look identically alike. And so that gave me the idea of this minor Mesopotamian god. That's how he basically can jump through this multiple dimensions of someone. He has to trick someone into basically wanting themselves, but this Bel-Sar-B is the one behind it. That's why when you see the poplar tree, you see, this is my metaphysical connection. He's the god of the poplar tree, so he can control multiple versions of people and basically trick them into wanting themselves, making them one version of themselves more and more evil. That's what the influence of the Bel-Sar-B Mesopotamian god is doing to this person. He's taking normal people, but then the multiple dimensions of them, combining them in, that makes them evil. Cole did it in a good way in their story. And that's why they became a kind of superhero, kind of shaman. They, from help with the Mothman and took on the role of this shaman, the protector of this realm, they did it and became good. So Cole knows how to do it in a good way. But Bel-Sar-B, the Mesopotamian god, is doing it to this person and making them evil. That's why Cole has to basically stop it, because Cole can see this happening. Cole can see dimensions. He can see these gods trying to trick people, and it's happening. So the person that's getting tricked is jumping their multiple dimensions. That's why it kind of looks like the popular tree. If you see that picture of trees that look exactly the same, it's kind of the metaphysical version of what's going on in this story. And sorry if that was confusing. That's what I like to do, is confuse people around here. Okay. So number 4 is another confusing idea, the parallax effect. If I don't explain this right, Google it later on. There's probably somebody on TikTok or YouTube that explain it much better than me. But it's the perception of movement. Perception of movement when observing it. Like it's funny enough, the Instagram reel that I saw, the person that was explained it very well. And they were talking about, there was a video of somebody who was moving in a car, but they had their camera phone looking at a plane. and they were moving, and it looked like the plane was hovering and moving the same speed or distance they were, because it was two things in motion. The way they explained it, it was the parallax effect. You're moving, but you're seeing something in motion that's very far away, so it looks like you're moving at the same time. That's going to happen in this story, because with multiple dimensions, there's multiple dimensions happening all at the same time. That's why things get warped, and that's why in the real life story I took from, go back to episode 1, the person who basically lived in Texas, but like a day later ended up dead on the side of the road in, somewhere in Washington. There were all these multiple sightings of them, like at the airport, at their job, at this garage, at the grocery store, all this stuff, because the parallax effect in this dimensional rift that's going on with this evil entity kind of pushing this person to basically jump in their own dimensions, the multiple dimensions. That's why things get all twisted and warped. It's the parallax effect. That's my next rule. Okay, next rule, number 5. Cole has to keep the humanity alive in one of the versions to push them back to their own dimensions, and basically forgetting what they happened. They fall back. They unone themselves. They accordion out back to their own dimensions. They basically forget everything that happened. So when Bel-Sabri is tricking this person to basically jump dimensions and combine themselves and become more and more evil and more powerful, Cole has to convince one of these versions of that self that's jumping. They have to show humanity and that they're being tricked. They're being influenced to be evil and all this stuff. Cole has to save a version. So this, combining of entities making themselves more and more evil and more powerful doesn't happen. And that's how the story is going to go. Cole can't just fight this evil entity, fight this Bel-Sabri Mesopotamian god, because that won't work. They have to convince this multiple entity that show them humanity, show them good, that, they're being tricked into being evil. That's Cole's plan, because it leads to I think I said in the last episode, this entity that's being combined has to basically take themselves out. They have to use that power, but Cole has to convince one of the versions of yourself to do that. You have to basically sacrifice yourself. Bel-Sabri, number 6. Bel-Sabri, the minor god of the poplar tree, uses branches of the tree to reach across universes to dimensions, tricking multiple versions of selves to be able to one themselves and become evil, giving power to Bel-Sabri. Bel-Sabri is that's the trick Bel-Sabri does to this person to one themselves. They think they're becoming more powerful and they're going to become this powerful god. But what happens is when you get to the last version, Bel-Sabri will take over. He's going to use all the power, the evil power from this person that's being one themselves, because it's a trick. It's a old Mesopotamian god trick, and Bel-Sabri is going to take over. This is what Bel-Sabri needs. He needs that power from this person combining themselves and being more evil. That's what Cole has to prove to them, because Cole has to prove to them they're being tricked, and what they think is evil, what they think they're fighting isn't actually real. It's not actually there. It's false. That's like what I said previously. Cole has to convince, show the humanity for, at least one of the versions of this multiple entity, so they can, not one themselves and become evil. Okay, this is another rule. Oh, like I said, and this is the last point. Only Cole can see this happening. Cole, as a shaman, has the power of sight. They can see in multiple dimensions and all this stuff going on. Like how certain animals could see on different spectrum. Cole, has the power of this shaman that can see this happening, can see the ruse behind. They can see Bel-Sabri is the one really in control. Number 7. Other version of you that is jumping has to take you to a specific point or place to combine the multiple version of yourselves to jump to the next dimension. So that's kind of why in the real life story, this person ends up in these random places that they've never been in their life. Like when if you're in your dimension right now and the another version of you jumps in your dimension, they had to take you to a specific place, combine you, basically taking over your life force at a specific point, a specific like place and point, like longitude or latitude, and that gets them to jump to the next dimension. That's like the rule of jumping dimensions. And I think it was based on another true life, podcast that I was listening to about somebody who they literally just left everything in their house. Like they left their bath running, they left the oven on, they left the iron on and all this stuff, got in the car, drove somewhere where they shouldn't have been going in the middle of the night, and basically crashed into a wall or a barrier or something like that. And like it was a horrific fire. And I got the idea that like in that scenario, if I take that as a reference or not a motivation, a reference or a motivation. Thank you. I had to stop I was rambling too much and the words started falling out of my head. Motivation. No. Inspiration. Jeez, I'm back. Inspiration. That person in their dimension, the reason they were in, they left their house in a hurry, jumped in the car and ended up, in this fiery crash because another version of themselves jumped into their dimension, had to take them to a specific point, combine themselves, and then that got them to jump to the other dimension. That would be like a real life inspiration I would use for this story. Inspiration. I'll never forget it. Okay. Number 8. Cole has to show person the future that is being torn apart currently from Sabri's actions. So, like I said, Sabri, the evil entity, the evil deity behind all of this that's tricking this person, is feeding them misinformation, feeding them lies, showing them that what they think they're doing isn't the right thing. But Cole has to show them, because I mentioned this in the previous episodes, that like with these multiple dimensions, also time is kind of happening at the same time. So the past, present, and future is happening at the same time, along with all these multiple dimensions. It's confusing, I know. But Cole, like, they're a shaman. They have this sight. They have to show the person that what they're doing is basically going to destroy the future for everyone. And that what they're doing is not saving the world. It's not making themselves more powerful. They're making the evil entity more powerful. That's why I said Cole has to save one version in humanity and show them that what they're doing is wrong and all that stuff, and convince them that they need to fix this, and convince them they need to take themselves out and make that sacrifice. So the way that Cole could do that is basically show them the future, because the future is happening at the same time. And Cole can jump those dimensions and show them the actual ugly, painful, torturous truth, because Sabri is tricking this person and making them feel like what they're doing is right. They're showing them lies and false to make them feel comfortable and happy, but that it's like ignorance is bliss. But Cole needs to show them the painful truth and kind of break their reality. That's what Cole has to do. Cole can't just do the action. Cole has to lead them to the action. That was 8. Yeah, those are my main 8 rules that I want for this multiple dimensional confusing ass story. Sorry. The last rule, not really rule, but kind of guide I wanted for this. I jumped back to my Save the Cat Bible, by Blake Snyder, the book about screenwriting that I always reference and always try to learn from. But there's a part of the book that I've used in previous episodes. If I think of this as a movie or just a story, what kind of story is it? And for me, there's 2. So in the book, this one will be a superhero because Cole is a superhero, but Cole is not like, Batman or Captain America or Superman or something. Cole is not just fighting evil. Cole has to guide somebody, because Cole in their story was helped by the Mothman. But then when they took on the responsibility, Cole became this guide like the Mothman. He became this guide shaman entity. And you can assume what superhero stories are. I mean, they're so huge now. And also, there's one called Dude with a Problem. It's like the average person who kind of has to save the world. That's the way I interpret it. So my dude is going to be this person that's being tricked. And Cole is the new guide in the story. Like how in my previous Insecta Mothman story, Cole was the dude, the average person that had to learn that they were special and find their powers with the help of the Mothman. In this one, Cole is now the guide that had to help this dude see the truth, see what's actually right and what's going on. And boom, there we go. Three. I did 3 episodes on this. You, yours, and yours. I'm sorry if it was confusing, but I had to get it out because I like this idea. Especially as I go down the rabbit hole of comic book reading. I'm not going to say how many comic books I have. I'm not going to say how many comic books that I've bought that I still haven't read. I'm not going to say how many comic books I'm going to buy tomorrow on Wednesday. But I've gone down the rabbit hole, and this is why it led to this story. I want to do a superhero story that's not a typical superhero story. I love the idea, not even thinking about stories, just I love the idea of multiple versions of yourself. I love the idea that the past, present, and future is happening all at the same time. That time is not a linear line. I like weird stuff like that, and I wanted to do a story about it. But this is probably where I will end it for now. Like I said, it's now spring, and there's another story that's creeping up in the back of my head that I started writing about, researching last year that I want to do now because a certain sport has started, and it's April. You can probably figure out what I'm talking about, but that'll be the next episode. So I hope you join me for that next one. I hope I didn't lose you. I hope you're not tired of hearing from me because I'm trying to get back in the habit of doing these more and more often. So thanks for listening. Thanks for going on this ride for the multiverse, you, yours, and yours story. Don't sue me, Marvel. Please don't sue me. But yeah, thanks for listening. And I'll end it there. And you will hear from me soon. Love ya. Bye-bye.